Hi, my name is Ayanna Kosoko, and this is my journey through code. Okay, like I said, my name is Ayanna Kosoko. I'm currently an iOS developer for a company called Possible Mobile. I went to Emory University and studied computer science and stumbled upon a language called Swift, and that's how I ended up in iOS development. I've been in love with it ever since. I definitely like the opportunities that are coupled with computer science and more specifically app development. You know, it's all the rage in terms of what's needed and like the startup community and people who want to build their own businesses. And I like being able to be at the forefront of that environment. I'm really big on wanting to be able to get us involved, like different minority groups, and I think the best way to do that is to provide you guys, well, us all, with certain resources. So.
Okay, that's really awesome. I'm curious to find out, I guess, just to backtrack a bit. So how did your journey start? Like, how did you get into programming, CS?
It's funny because I've wanted to be an engineer since I was young. I went to engineering magnet high school in DeKalb County. And from there, I went to Emory, and originally I was going to do biomedical engineering, but I ended up taking a class called Intro to Computer Science. And I really liked being able to manipulate the software and the foundational concepts and theories. And once I did my internship, my first internship was with my current employer, Possible Mobile. As an iOS developer, I was pretty hooked at that point because I was like, wow, I get to work on applications that people use every day, and it actually affects people's lives, and way less school. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're an iOS developer now. How did that happen? Did you decide, or everything just kind of fell in place?
Honestly, I feel like everything kind of fell in place. Prior to doing an internship, I was really getting myself involved in the tech scene in Atlanta, going to every hackathon that I could, trying to like really engulf myself in the field of tech in Atlanta as a whole, going to all the meetups, women who code, black girls who code, volunteering, just anything I could get my hands on. And eventually I went to a hackathon that my current employer was hosting for all women, and I think the subject was about women who had been abused. And so being able to create an application that could potentially help women that look like me who are in certain predicaments really solidified, like, okay, I feel like this is like where I'm supposed to be. I feel like this is more in line with my purpose.
Oh, okay. I'm really curious to find out, how has your experience like as a woman of color going through the tech field been?
It's been interesting for sure because you're kind of like a unicorn in a sense. People are constantly like, wait, so you're in tech? Wait, what do you do in tech? And I'm like, I code, I sit at a computer. They're like, okay, you code. Well, what is coding? And I try to explain it to them almost as though you're communicating to someone in a different language. Because at one point when I was studying computer science, I was actually studying Chinese at the same time. And it was funny to see how closely related they were, right? Because in Chinese, they don't have an alphabet. It's majority symbols that you have to like pretty much memorize, and you have to memorize how to structure them in a sentence. Kind of like code, you don't necessarily always have to memorize because, you know, Stack Overflow is your best friend, but you do have to memorize the overall concept and remember how things are applied so you can use them in the future. So that's the best way that I try to explain coding to people. I'm like, it's like learning like 5 languages at once.
That's really awesome. I'm also curious to find out, I know I met you at the Black Girls Code event, and you're also pretty involved within like the Atlanta tech scene, and you do a lot of volunteering. Why do you think it's important to increase like diversity and have representation within the tech field?
Because the people who use applications look like me, look like you, look like everyone who walks around. There's black, white, Latina, anybody. And I feel like the technology and how it's produced should resemble that, right? Because if we have one group that's creating and producing these applications and our consumers are way more diverse, how is the technology supposed to be an example or a reflection of the consumers that it's providing for? So I feel like the best way to increase diversity in tech is to go back and reach back to that foundational level where the kids are. So that's why I love Black Girls Code and being able to teach with them, because they're really good at having that curriculum that's structured for the younger kids. I remember, the last time we did artificial intelligence, and I was like, wow, what is a first grader going to learn about artificial intelligence? But they definitely broke down that curriculum enough for them to grasp that main overarching concept. So I definitely am all for that. So.
Oh, okay. You also talked about, I guess, when getting started, like getting involved in the Atlanta community, and you mentioned hackathons is one thing. What if someone is watching right now and like they don't really know where to start? Like, where do you start if you want to get involved to start like in the tech scene?
If you want to get involved in the tech scene, I think the main thing that I looked at was literally type in hackathon in Eventbrite. Just type in hackathon in Eventbrite and you'll be able to go to whatever hackathon is there, because most of the hackathon invitations are generated through Eventbrite. As far as the Atlanta area, there's a group called Goody Nation that usually hosts a lot of hackathon tech events. There's Atlanta Tech Village that hosts some. You could even get experience with some startups there. There's also, what's another one? There's also Tech Square. They house a couple of hackathons as well as startups. So if you definitely want to get involved in that startup community, indoor hackathon community, and just get involved with that, I would definitely say go to Eventbrite and just type in hackathon and go to the first couple of things that you see.
Oh, okay. Like, I'm also curious to find out, what are some changes or things to expect from moving from college to like entering the workforce?
You create your own deadlines. That, I would say, that's one of the major things. Like, definitely once you matriculate from college to the real world, bring those concepts of working on certain deadlines and having certain goals, because honestly you're gonna kind of itch for them. You're gonna be like, wait, I don't have homework due, wait, I don't have this due. You can create your homework. You can, like, because the whole concept of being a computer scientist or a software engineer is you are a student for life at that point. So being able to create your own curriculum, going on Udemy, taking classes. I actually just recently finished a boot camp with Georgia Tech, and I did that because it wasn't so much that I was itching to go back to school, but I did want a structured curriculum that gave me very marketable skills at the same time. So, do what you feel like is right in terms of being able to grow in your career, and always be ready to pivot, because the market is ever changing. We have blockchain, we have artificial intelligence, machine learning. And so make sure that you can ideally be a T-shaped candidate, as they so say, which T-shape is basically like you have a strong concentration in one thing, but you can like stretch out into other genres of tech. So.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. T-shaped candidate. So what are your plans for the next 5 years, and like plans for the future? Where do you see your career moving, or where do you plan to move to?
I definitely see myself helping out in the Atlanta tech scene. Like, I grew up here and I've just seen how much it's grown. And as much as I definitely still want to be able to touch the Silicon Valley area and New York area in terms of like the tech scene, but in terms of what I really want to invest in, I really want to invest in Atlanta's market, their startup market. We have a lot of great minority-founded organizations here, and so I definitely want to help them build those out. I want to help them build everything from the actual application to strategizing, customer acquisition, building out the base front for their company and getting them on that, forefront so that they can get funding and, provide to consumers that look like us.
Yeah.
So.
Well, last but not least, do you have any advice for any women of color that are watching and want to start a career in tech, or maybe are in college looking at moving into the workforce? Just, I guess, any advice,
My biggest advice would be do not give up. It's gonna get hard. There's gonna be days where you just question your whole career and you're like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But at the end of the day, if you know you love to be challenged, if you know you love to teach yourself things and grow and ever changing, tech is for you. Tech is for you in whatever capacity that you want it to be, whether it be through coding, marketing, business, mathematics, whatever way you feel like you can fit in, get in where you fit in. And once you're in, it's all about being able to maintain yourself. So don't get too stressed out about the code. Try to get a good work-life balance, but don't give up. That's my biggest advice.